Hello fellow learners, welcome to Maths Bridge. I hope you are all doing good. Thanks for joining with us. We shall continue our learning journey in C programming. Guys, keep up your motivation energy levels to learn new things every day. Without further delay, let's get into today's topic. Shall we? Folks, please do visit us at our YouTube channel Maths Bridge. I'm sure I think you are already subscribed to the channel. If you have not, please do subscribe the channel and then support us. Thank you and then happy learning. Here is our today's agenda. Scanf. Scanf is a standard C library function which is from stdio.h input output library. Precisely scanf is for the input function, meaning user to read the input from the keyboard. User input, what I was referring. Let's see like the few points as a takeaway. Scanf stands for a scan formatted string. Scanf function is used to get a user inputs. If you look at a scanf function, it takes two arguments as an input. One is format specifier, because what are the variable that that you are defining in your program, right? So you have to specify that format, like a percentage of D, percentage of F, percentage of C, things like that. And the second argument, would be the reference operator, which stores the memory address of the variable. These two are actually input to the scanf. Scanf, reads the specific data type from a standard input, like a computer keyboard for our instance, and assign the value to the variable. That's what we discussed, right? Scanf function also allow multiple inputs. When I say multiple inputs, like int, char, float, string, double, these are all kind of inputs, right? You can use like a single input reader or multiple input reader, right? Scanf actually supports both ways. Here is the scanf syntax. Int scanf constant char star format. In simple notation, that if you understand, like let's say I have a variable called number of type integer, then scanf would be like this. Percentage of D is a format specifier, comma, ampersand number. This means like address of operator as a prefix to the variable name. This basically refers a memory location. So scanf reads the input value, converted into the format that you specified. That value will be stored in the variable using this reference. This is how it works. Here is the how you are actually using scanf for read the input value as an integer. If I see this a sample program, I have a variable called integer, and then this is like prompting user, right? Basically, so that like user can understand like, oh yeah, I think program is waiting for my input, that message you are giving. So but 11 line number 11 basically scanf, this statement basically tells me like the program is waiting for user input. This is like a kind of a blocking call. Until user enters the value, the program is not move forward. That's an idea. Once user enters the value, then it reads it. Okay, so the scanf syntax, if you see, percentage of D, because this is a specifier. Since I'm using like a integer value, I have to use like percentage of D, and then the address of operator as a prefix to the variable is what I is supposed to give to the input, because these are the two arguments that are essential for scanf. And then in the printf, what I'm doing is like percentage of D means like again integer value, whatever I'm storing in line number 11, which I'm going to display here, right? Okay, if I compile and run this code, then this is how the output would be. First, it prompts the user, it will line number 9, enter the input. By this time that pointer actually, I mean the control comes to the line number 11. If I enter as an input is 10, then it goes to line number 13 and then displays the actual value. Enter input value as a 10, which is, this is what it is. Right? This is how it works. Similarly, you can use scanf for the float value, but the only change that you have to see, variable name and then variable type is what I made it changes. And then in line number 11, I use like in a format specifier as f because I'm float, and then I'm using this float value as is. And the reference address of operator is what I supposed to use, I'm using. So correspondingly, I made a changes in line number 13. Now the variable is like holding a float value, so the float format specifier is what I'm using, percentage of f. If I compile and run this code, the output is, this is how it goes. Enter the number is like, if I enter number like this 12.457, then it reads the input from the keyboard by the scanf, and displays the value. The value that I'm storing is like little different from what I entered, because that is how the float values managed by this computer. So you can see like more or like why this precision change and all. But decimal, after decimal there is a 6 characters, this will display for us. Similarly, I can check the how I can read the char value. The procedure still remains same. I have a character variable cvar, and then at line number 11 I am using like a percentage of c as a format specifier in order to read the input as a character, and then given a second argument as a ampersand address operator with the variable name. And line number 13, the modification that I made is like percentage of c and then variable name, right? So if I compile this code and run it, this is what I can get it. So it prompts the user first, enter the name. If I type uppercase A, then at line number 13, it displays as A. Now the question is, can scanf be used for multiple inputs? Yes, the answer is definitely yes, we can use it. This is a sample program. I have two variables, integer variable and then float value, right? So in the scanf now made a modifications to read the two input values, so percentage of d, percentage of f, and num, and then f num, right? So the first format specifier is for the first variable, which is of integer. Second format specifier for the second variable, which is a float. On the same order I'm displaying output as well, right? If I can compile this code and run it, so this is what my output would be. So enter the inputs. I entered like two values, integer first space with this float value, it means like a real number, then entered output is what I'm getting like this. Are you clear? This is how scanf actually works for us. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, click on bell icon, and leave the comments. Happy learning. Thank you. Stay tuned to upcoming sessions.